Hi, I'm Dal. Welcome to my channel. I haven't really done a video like this at all, let alone in a long time. I haven't done a video at all, really. And I'm here to talk to you, the viewer, kind of put out a bit of a rambling. This is not another person giving advice with a little microphone on the internet. I have a lot of gripes with that, and I can critique all of that myself. I don't really believe in listening to random people on the internet most of the time, just because they have a microphone and or just their phone and they just say things without thought. But I've thought a lot about this. I'm going to be talking about motivation, the new year, things like that. And I think that there's going to be a lot for you to take from it. So I'm just going to get into it rather than kind of prove my credentials, because I think that there should be a conversation about credentials, like from these random people on YouTube, just selling you something, trying to give you advice. My way is not the only way, and that's the whole thing. That this whole point of this is to get you to kind of think for yourself, actually, which you would be listening to me telling you to think for yourself, which almost sounds paradoxical because, like you're kind of listening to me, you're listening to my advice and taking my advice by not taking other people's advice, if that makes sense. Anyways, so let's just discuss it because I think about things deeply, and I'm going to encourage you guys to kind of think about things in a different way that can be helpful to you. So, especially like if you're in a slump or anything like that, you might find some of the things that I'm going to share with you helpful. So yeah, get cozy. I'm in my room. Hold on. Okay, I think that's good. I'm in my room right now. I don't know which is more of a lesbian flag, the lesbian flag or the Jennifer's Body poster. Also have a Vampire Diaries poster. I mean, Catherine Pierce is like, I don't want to say God, but you know. So let's just begin. So I was thinking about the new year and like, I've been decluttering and stuff and thinking about, times when my place isn't clean or, I'm behind on something. And I've thought about, when I would tell someone, because sometimes, you talk to other humans and you share something like, oh, I got out of bed today. Like, this is also more towards like people who kind of like struggle with like, motivation and stuff. So, um, like for me, let's say, or you or whoever, like it's at different like it's different for everyone. Like sometimes you're motivated, sometimes you're not. And it's like, you know, for some people, like brushing your teeth is a win, and that's big. And you should consider that a win for yourself. And beating yourself up for not doing enough is not going to actually make you do more. But what's going to be helpful and more sustainable is to recognize what you have done. And that I think will push you to actually do more. Like, let's say you have homework and you did like 2 assignments, but you still have 3 more to do. You don't have to be like, well, I have 3 more to do, which is true, but you don't have to. You could be like, wow, I've finished 2 of my assignments, rather than being glass half empty and being like, but I still have 3. And this, here's my thing that really pissed me off. This should have already been done. That pisses me off when someone says, this, your room is so messy. It should have already been clean. Like, you know what? There isn't a time machine. I don't see Doc in the DeLorean and Marty, you know, it's kind of already past that point then, and let's say you don't like going to school. You don't get up early and stuff. Um which was kind of me in like grade 9 through 12. So like, and you're like, oh, guess what? Like I went to like I went to my afternoon classes today. I didn't go in the morning, but I went I went to my classes and I did my homework. And then someone might say, well, you should have already gone to your morning classes. Like, you're behind and this and that, and you're doing this wrong and this wrong. And what I've learned is that you can't talk to those people. You can't talk to those people who put you down further than where you already are, because that's not going to make you get up earlier. There's always going to be someone who gets up earlier. I could get up at 5 a.m. and feel really motivated until this is actually a true story. I hate this teacher that I'm even referencing, and I have so many stories about this teacher, which was insane. It was like the first day of senior year, and I was telling my teacher, I was like, yeah, I got up at like 5 or 6 in the morning and got ready. I was so motivated. I'm in such a good mood. Like, I'm ready for the new year. And immediately he was like, well, you can't rely on motivation. Are you going to do this every day for the rest of the year? And it was like, it wasn't even a good thing that I had gotten up early. It wasn't enough, because you can't rely on motivation. I don't even care if that's like a good principle to have, because he was using it as a put down and not as a, if someone really wanted to get home the point of you can't rely on motivation, they would say, is that sustainable every day for you? Do you have a routine in place and certain disciplined regiments that you can count on to keep you on track? Like, it's unhelpful, and the word helpful and unhelpful is going to be very helpful to you when someone's talking to you, or when you're talking to yourself and you're trying to get out of a slump or whatever it is. Is this helpful or is this unhelpful to me? Is this sustainable? Is this, whatever? Like, telling me, because, this teacher, I have stories. I could do a story time, like a classic YouTube story time about this teacher who was deranged, like deranged, and was a tyrant. And oh god, those gym bros who are like, I get up at 4 a.m. and I work out at 4 a.m. and I eat all my protein. Like, those guys. He was one of those. And I hate him, and I hated him, and I will always hate him. Um, I will sing, instead of I will always love you, I will always hate you. I think that a story time would be really funny, because it's actually insane, but let me know if you want that. Also, yes, I have a teddy bear. And see, some people might say, well, you're so and so many years old and you shouldn't have a teddy bear. Guess what? It helps me. Okay? So, yeah, like, there's always going to be someone who says, well, you should have already done that. Maybe you need to go, and maybe you're a little on the mature side and you want to go and get your driver's license, and you're talking to someone saying, yeah, I really want to get my driver's license, and they're like, well, you should have already gotten that when you were 16. Why didn't you go take the test when you were 16? What's wrong with you? Why wouldn't you already have it? You should already have it. And it's like, well, you know what? I can't go back to when I was 16 and go and get it now. Like, that time has passed. I'm trying to do it now. And so, remember that you don't have to talk to these people for the most part. Or at least, the thing is, with those kind of people, if you do you're probably going to notice, if you do have someone like that in your life, not saying those exact things, but those kind of sentiments, like, you're going to think of them when I'm sharing these examples. You're thinking of them already. Don't share with them these accomplishments. Like, even like small things, like, I got out of bed today. Like, don't tell them. Don't share that with them. Don't share things about yourself with them. Honestly, sometimes you're going to have to lie, because these people, who think you should do this, you should do that, you can't tell them anything, because it's a put down immediately. You can't tell them, like, there's some people, they don't even say it like that, but somehow it's so strange that there's people who, they might even claim to care about you, but it's like, you could literally do a class at Harvard and say, yeah, I got like perfect in my class at Harvard University, and it won't be like a happy, for some reason they're not happy for you. I mean, I think that's like a different conversation as well, but it kind of goes with it. Like, they don't care. That's not like a celebration for them. They don't celebrate that for you. And it's tiring. I think it's exhausting. And I think that you need to connect with people who will celebrate that and will say, wow, you're so smart. Like, I'm so proud of you. Whether it's a big thing or a little thing, because that's going to help you to move forward. You got out of bed today? That's great. That's genuinely great. And now, because you feel affirmed and you feel like you're around someone who's more positive, you're in a better mood. And maybe tomorrow you're going to get out of bed and you're going to brush your teeth. And maybe you're going to get changed. And maybe you're going to go outside for a walk. You know, you applied to 5 jobs. Well, you know what? That's great. Rather than telling you it's not enough or you should have been doing this, especially things that are like out of your control, like the economy and like the work world. Like, not all jobs are hiring, and it's right now is a really tough time. So, you know, okay. Also, I had a ring light on and I turned it off because I don't, it is annoying to look at. So, yeah, so you're gonna have to deal with like a slight shadow, but that's literally fine. Um, yeah, like people telling you you should do this, you should do that. You should have already had your driver's license by 16. Well, you know what? Maybe X, Y, and Z happened. I don't know. Like, I can't tell you why I didn't have a driver's license at 16, but I didn't. And now, maybe you're working towards getting your full license, you know? And someone telling you, well, you should have already done that, and you're like, maybe you're in between university and, you're like, I don't know which university I want to go to. I don't know exactly what program. I have an idea, but blah, 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 blah. And you're not done. And someone's like, well, you should have already finished. You should have already graduated 2 years ago or whatever. And it's like, well, you know what? That's not the case. Like, I didn't graduate this year. Like, that's not happening. There's only time in the future. Like, people telling you should have already done this, you should have already graduated. It's like, well, what timeline are you on? Why is that helpful to me? Why should I give a shit what you have to say, first of all? And some people, they're just so, that's actually more limiting. That's not going to make you want to go to university more. That's not a helpful question. It's not like, okay, well, what are you looking for in a university? Okay, what's the reason that you didn't want to go before? What's the reason that you do want to go now? Why would university be helpful? There's a lot of helpful questions that you could ask yourself or talk to someone and have them ask you. There's a lot of like planning and brainstorming that could go into it. But when you have someone who doesn't do all of that and it's just immediate, well, it's proper to just do university in 4 years right after school and, and graduate and then you go get a job and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, like the Charlie Brown adults. It's like, don't even share then. Don't tell these people that, because if you are hearing what I'm saying and you're kind of like thinking about certain people in your life who talk to you like that, don't share with them. Don't share with them. Just lie. And they're going to notice. And the thing is, they might grow to just not reach out, or maybe they will, and maybe they'll notice that like you don't share things with them anymore. But it's just the truth that like it's not good for you at that point to share with people. So yeah, recognize where you're at. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyways, I don't know if I have a whole lot more to say, but just see where you're at. You're motivated to wake up at 5 a.m. and if that works for you, okay. But if you are like trying to wake up earlier, maybe you wake up at noon. Maybe tomorrow you just wake up at 11. Maybe you try for 11. Maybe not. Maybe in 2 days you'll be able to wake up at 11. Maybe, next week you'll be waking up at 10 because, like habits take time. So you wake up at 10 a.m. and then you start working on waking up at 9 a.m. and that's sustainable. That'll actually stick rather than doing everything in one day. Okay, 5 a.m. gym, go to the store, go to work, do this and that, donate to charity, adopt 10 puppies and foster 10 puppies and feed the homeless and then work out again and then make a fully organic, perfect, wonderful dinner that's gourmet and then go swimming and then go to bed and read 100 books in a day. No, Don't listen to those people. Don't listen to those people on YouTube, on TikTok, on whatever, trying to sell you so much, because that's not instant. That's not tomorrow. That's not, you're not going to go from point A to B in zero point 0.5 seconds. That's not how it works. 0 to 100 real quick. You're not going to become that person in an instant. It has to, it takes a minute. So, like, yeah, you wake up tomorrow at 10, even though you were waking up at 12. And that, again, is a win. Some people might say, well, you should have already been waking up at 5 in the morning. But you weren't. You weren't. And you know what? Maybe one day you will. Maybe you don't even need to wake up at 5 in the morning. You can just wake up at 7. You don't need to be up at 5. First of all, it's winter. The sun is not up until, like, I mean, like, from what I've seen, I don't know which way. I think I'm facing south. I don't see the sun until like 8 or 9. I feel like 7 maybe, but I feel like 8 or 9. 8 or 9 is when the sun really comes out. So it's also, you got to take in that it can be hard. It can be hard, first of all, but it can also be hard to wake up if you don't have sunlight. And someone who says, okay, well, tomorrow, you do 50 reps of bench pressing or whatever, and 500 squats and 20 sit-ups and 300, you're not going to go to that level. You can't lift 5,000 pounds. First of all, I don't know who can lift 5,000 pounds. You're going to have to first start with 5 pounds, 10 pounds, 20 pounds. You're going to lift 30 pounds, 40 pounds. Your muscle has to get used to that. So think of it like that for everything. If you want to read more, don't listen to people who say, I read 100 books in a year. First of all, those people are lying. And I will make a video on that. Those people are lying. They're not reading books like War and Peace or anything. They're reading, I mean, some of them might be reading classics, but I think that a lot of people online are not reading books that are, first of all, challenging. They're not literature. They're not of a lot of, like, value to literature, culture, and society. But I mean, hey, a little fun read is great. I'm not knocking that. It's just that it's not the same thing. Like, you're not reading Tolstoy here. You're not reading Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice, which is, like, to me, the Bible. Like, that's my everything. Jane Austen is my favorite author. If you don't know, obviously you wouldn't because you don't know me, but she's my favorite author. And some people who read a lot, and also, I don't listen to people who only read, like, nonfiction self-help books, because it's just, that's not my vibe. And recognize who you are, that these people on the internet, maybe you like nonfiction self-help books, but sometimes, if you're like a creative, some of those books are very, like, cut and dry and very, like, you need to do this. That's how a lot of those people come off to me. And they come off to me as those people who think you need to lift 500 pounds in the gym on your first day. They don't come off to me as, like, people who are willing to understand that you have to start off with 5 pounds, 10 pounds. So I would say, um, don't listen to people, but take some of their advice and change it to fit you. Like, maybe you're going to read a page a day. Also, reading on your phone could be helpful. And that's what I mean, like, taking these things that you want to do and forming them to fit you better. Like, if you want to work out, but you're always in bed, maybe you just stretch your arms while you're in bed. That's a step. And again, people might say, you should have already done this. You should already be working out. No, you're gonna not listen. You're just gonna stretch in bed, and then tomorrow, you're going to stretch just on the floor or whatever, just outside of your bed. And then maybe you're going to go for a walk. You're going to go for a run. And so, yeah, consider what your goals are and what you want, because a lot of people who are giving advice, they don't know what your goals are. They don't know you personally. So their solutions that they're giving you don't necessarily make sense. Some of them can be helpful, but honestly, it's just tiring listening to people stand on their soapbox and talk about something that I don't think that they quite understand. I think that there's a lack of understanding, a lack of nuance, a lack of empathy, like compassion, to understand that, yeah, maybe someone's not gonna read 100 books in a year if last year they read -5 books somehow. I don't even know how. So you're gonna start with one book. One book this year. I know that sounds like not a lot, but you know what? If you read 0 last year, then you're gonna just aim for 1. And I know you might say, "But you're aiming too low." You're not gonna We don't always have to think about, "Oh, by the end of the year, I'm gonna do this." I think that's, like, a big when you make it too big and make it, like, all about the end of the year and all of these things having to, be stacked up as all these big accomplishments, I think it's too much, and I think that's where people get, like, they don't wanna make decisions, and they just can't, and they don't wanna start. Like, "You know what? Today, I wanna read Pride and Prejudice. I wanna read Of Mice and Men. I wanna read whatever," which, by the way, I'm gonna make a video probably right after this about really easy book recommendations to get into reading for real. Um, and, you wanna read Of Mice and Men, so you know what? I'm gonna either buy a copy or the library or read it online, or you know what? I'm gonna listen to an audiobook of it. There's even free ones on YouTube. Um, if you want, you could listen or watch a Shakespeare play, and you've read Shakespeare, basically, because they were intended to be watched as plays, not read like books anyways, so, um but yeah, you're gonna fix it to fit you, and then there you go. And then there you go. You you read you're reading a couple pages of Mice and Men just for yourself. You don't have to think about, by the end of the year, I have to read this many books. I have to finish this book. I mean, you can. Sometimes I like to think, okay, I want to get to the next chapter by tomorrow. I mean, I've been reading Pride and Prejudice for quite some time. It took me like a couple months to read Little Women, but I wasn't always like reading it every single day. So, again, you got to fix things to fit you, and also that goes the other way of not just like, to crap on creators who are giving advice, but also people with their whataboutisms of like, but like, what if I am allergic to bananas? Can I put something else in this banana bread? That's exactly my thing of when I say that a creator, you don't have to listen to them and you don't have to take their advice. Like, it's not to crap on them, and it's not to say that, I mean, it is sometimes, but like sometimes it's not even that they're giving bad advice per se, but that it doesn't work for you. That, you know what? Maybe if you don't like pasta, don't make this pasta recipe from this pasta channel. You know what I mean? If you don't resonate with what I'm saying right now, then, you know, give it a dislike and it won't show up because YouTube took away the dislike button, basically. I don't know why it's still there. I can't see dislikes on videos. So, don't listen. You turn it off. And you don't have to do what a YouTube video says. So, I hope that I've said enough. I've been talking for forever now. I hope that maybe you were picking up what I was putting down. Um Yeah, so yeah. Would it be weird if I just like I just went to bed right now? It's kind of like we're at a sleepover. I think that's kind of what I wanted it to make it like a cozy, comfy sleepover rather than somebody in a podcast studio telling you, "Oh, you should do this and this," but they don't recognize like where you're at. You should do this and this, and I have $1 million, but you should listen to me. And I totally am saying things that are like inaccessible to the average person. And you should do this. It's like, what are you talking about? So I think that you should give this a like because you and me, look, I'm an average person giving you good advice. It's actually good advice, even though I'm telling you to not take advice, but I think you understand what I'm saying. So I might not even edit this video because I'm just so real. I hope you enjoyed. I've been told that my voice is soothing as well, so I think my cat might want to make an appearance, but I don't think so. So, we'll see. I hope you liked it, and who knows, maybe I'll delete this out of embarrassment, but maybe not. So, hope you enjoyed.